Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm just going to wait to see if we can get a few more people to spill in for today's call, our great event for tonight. But I would love to know for everyone that have joined us, please let us know where you are currently watching in the chat so we can know just who's all around us, who's all involved, where you're coming from. Definitely put what industry or even your job title in the comments down below, and we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Please go ahead and post down below where you're watching, and we'll be getting started in just a moment. I see we have Wilson. Hi, Wilson. We have Steven. Hey, Steven. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, go ahead and get started here. So thank you everyone once again for joining us today. We're just so excited and it's just a pleasure to see everyone here. We have a lot of fun things going on here with Bot, and we're just so excited to showcase all that great information to you. And let me just present this real quick to you. If you haven't already, please give us a quick follow on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can follow us at Black Donald Tech. And we also have a QR code here. So if you have not joined our mailing list, you're more than welcome to do so by scanning that QR code with your phone or just hitting a screenshot and then you can look at it later. But with our mailing list, we do a lot of great emails every week where we're just showcasing what we're doing in the community, a lot of our upcoming events that are in person and online, and then any other like classified news such as jobs or other supporting events in the community in the area. We do a lot of posting of that, especially with a lot of industry talks and industry news for everyone. Okay. So about Black Colonial Tech, we were founded in 2016 by Joshua Walker and Mike Phillips. BOT is a nonprofit organization that is suited in Central Florida, devoted to the improvement of the economic growth of minorities. And our mission is to enable and empower as many people to enter and thrive in the field of tech. And we are aiming to increase awareness, activities, networks, and resources for local minorities who inspire to build careers or start their entrepreneur journeys in the technology industry within Central Florida and beyond. And just as a quick introduction to myself, my name is Sophia Porter, and I am the executive director for Black Orlando Tech. But for today, I'm just as your opening host, who's going to be bringing on Daniel in just a few moments. Here is our next upcoming event that we have in person at Credo on March 28th. It's going to be about Mentors on the Minds, where we're going to be having a workshop learning walkthrough with Maya. And the workshop is going to be focused on machine learning. So this will be on our Eventbrite page. You're more than welcome to go there and sign up if you haven't already. Otherwise, you can scan this QR code and it'll take you directly to our events page. But we're just very excited for this event, especially with it being Black History Month, and having Maya to be running this phenomenal event. So we hope to see everyone there as well in person. And we are looking for additional volunteers. So if you are looking to put in any volunteer hours, or you know someone who is also looking um, to utilize their time outside of work and XYZ, we are looking for people in operations, for marketing, events, content development, and we're looking for people for mentorship. So we do encourage you Again, if you want to find a way to get back into the community, this bot will be a great place for you to do so. So for today's topic, we're going to be going into a very fun career transitional story with Daniel. His story, I've already had a great sneak peek of it. And it's just very phenomenal, and it's going to be very inspiring in regards to if you're inspiring to get into the tech industry in the tech field, or rather starting a startup, and you're just like, well, I've always been stuck at this level. It's like I have no idea how I'm going to get to here. I believe Daniel's story is going to really showcase how you can do that, regardless of what stage you are in, that you can get into the industry of your choice. And just to give some background about Daniel, Daniel has been a part of the bot community since 2023. He is currently a volunteer for us as well. He has 5 years experience in coding and web applications, and he currently is serving in software, tech, and startup industries. And he is also very, again, local to Central Florida as one of our committee volunteer members. So I'm going to go ahead and put it over to him on the slide. So I hope that you guys enjoy.
Not showing yet. Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, thank you, Safia, for the warm welcomes. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, I will get kicked off and I started in a second here. I'll just go ahead and reintroduce myself. So my name is Daniel Archibald. I am a software engineer, a senior support engineer at a company called IDDataWeb right now, Cybersecurity. But yeah, this talk is going to be a bit about how I got into tech, why I made the transition, what inspired me to do it, and the hurdles that I sort of faced on the way getting to where I am now. So for anybody out there who's struggling with the same thing that I was facing about 5 years ago now, or probably longer than that, actually, I hope this inspires you to keep going. And if you haven't gotten started, I hope that this, is the thing that kickstarts your careers for you. So without further ado, let's get started. So some quick reminders. Feel free to take as many notes as you like throughout the webinar, but this deck will be made available to you, so you can share it with others or keep it for yourselves afterwards. Questions, feel free to ask them in the chat as we go along. I'll get to them at the end of the webinar. We'll have about 15 minutes or so to answer anything that you guys might have questions about. So yeah, I think also this stream will be kept on YouTube. So you can feel free to just chill, hang out, and then afterwards rewatch it in your leisure. And the agenda for today. So I will talk a little bit again about, who I am, how I got started, where I come from, why I chose tech, what I was doing before this, the tech landscape as a whole. So like the industry, what you can expect to see, what jobs are out there, things of that nature. My first tech job, and what that was like, my job now, which again, cybersecurity, which I only realized like a couple months ago that that's what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing before, but apparently it's cybersecurity. And then your first job, right? Which hopefully you get as an output of this, or, just sheer hard work and effort, because you can do it. And then some closing remarks again about the lecture, and then a Q&A. So feel free to ask as many questions as you want. I'll get to all of them. Okay, so yeah, a little bit about me. Well, I'll talk a little bit about my affiliation with Bot first before I get into the specifics. But I sort of joined Bot on a whim after moving to Orlando. Like, I wanted to find people who look like me in tech that I could just vibe with and learn from. And I found that in Black Orlando Tech, which is awesome. So for any of you out there who've not yet been to an event, I highly recommend you come out to the next one, and anyone that you can make it out to. It's a great community. I've learned a lot. Everybody here is inspirational. So yeah, it's a great community to be a part of. All right, so childhood Daniel, we're taking it all the way back to the beginning. Here I am, circa 2001, hanging out online with my older brother. I bring this slide up because the two of us, well, the three of us actually, you can see in the top right there, I have a younger sister. The three of us were homeschooled by our mother. And I make a point to say this because without her help and all of the exposure she's given me to so much, I don't think I would have made it into tech and where I am today. Like even the thought of what I was doing before, it was the memories that I had growing up that inspired me to like take this seriously. So huge shout outs to her. Yeah, I thank her every day for that. Fast forwarding, because obviously I'm not going to tell my whole life story. 2016 now, I'm a sophomore in college, and I'm studying neuroscience and biology. The reason being is because I'm trying to follow in her footsteps to become a doctor. But the truth is, it's not really what I want to do, right? I want to do everything else other than medicine. I want to make music, as you can see. I was doing that. I wanted to write TV and film, literally anything else. I was not studying. It was the whole gist. So I dropped out, as you could probably expect, right? For me, it was an option. For a lot of people, I know it's not, but for me, hey, nobody was too upset. My mother wasn't mad, she was actually pretty supportive, so much so that she gifted me her car and a quote, start with the end in mind, which was her way of saying, hey, you don't have it all figured out now, but if you can visualize it, you can get to it. So I did just that. I packed 2 bags filled with visions of God knows what, and I left for New York. I don't know why I picked New York. I guess, I had no job or plans waiting for me there. But the quote was enough for me to believe that I just had to get up and do something, and I could figure it out along the way, just, and just think. I could just dream, sort of. So, yeah, if I had ever got stuck, I could just go back to that. Just what is the end that I have in mind? What am I trying to get to? And just let that take me somewhere. So 2018, I embark on a college dropouts journey. Again, all supported by my mother and my father. So it's not like my parents. I didn't have to go ahead. But 6 months later into my dropout journey, I'm back at home, back to square one. Why did I leave? Well, I ran out of steam, to keep it blunt. The job that I was working at it felt like a dead end. The screenwriting that I was trying to do, the film, the television, it wasn't panning out because I had, on account of me finishing 0 scripts, like there was nothing there, right? So after shaking my pockets a few times and realizing that I was running out of money, I was like, I probably should hightail it out of here before I can't, and I'm stuck. So yeah, I left 6 months, 6 months out. And what I did next is exactly what you would think. Nothing. So I'm out of school. I took a whim and I'm back home and I'm like, what's next? Nothing. Well, that's not entirely true. I was doing something. I was thinking a lot. I was planning, I was getting to know myself, which I think is important if you're making a career switch, is you got to know who you are. So yeah. And again, like that quote that my mother had given me was the thing ringing in the back of my head. Like, what is the end? What is this end that I'm getting to? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Like it was enough to fuel that fire. So and again, I have to say that her letting me do that was very much a blessing, because who else is just going to let you figure it out, right? When you should totally have it figured out. So I have nothing but gratitude for that. But with the planning and the thinking, I thought to myself, maybe I should go back to school. Maybe I should learn a trade or something. So I had some idea, right? And I just took that and I started researching. But I'm 21 at the time. And so I had the attention span of a gopher, which meant that researching looked more like me playing video games all day or surfing the internet or watching TV endlessly. So I wasn't exactly using my time effectively. But again, like I had support and I had some ambition and I was self-sufficient. I could feed myself. So I was really just coasting. But yeah, only problem though was I couldn't really get to play video games and surf the internet like I wanted to because my PC had stopped working. And I think I'd had a laptop, but I was always more sort of a PC gamer. So it was important to me to like have a setup. So again, somebody just with free time in their hands, I took it upon myself to fix my computer. Yeah. So I started fixing it, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but enough YouTube videos steered me in the direction of recognizing it probably had something to do with the wires on the inside of the computer. So I had no idea what was wrong with it, but I just pretended to know what I was doing. And again, YouTube made me feel like I was a whiz, so I just kept at it. I eventually fixed it, right? I think it was like the PC bus needed to get cleaned, or I don't really know what I did to this day. I really don't know, but it worked and I was super happy about it. Um, and that feeling, right, of like wanting to fix something and then fixing it, again, also something that I enjoyed. Like I love computers. It was like the, the pleasure center of my brain had just snapped and I was like, oh, this is cool. I could do this. So that light bulb moment that we all get when like something makes sense struck me that day. And I was like, let's go. I should fix computers. This is the thing, right? This is my calling. I'd loved online games since I was a kid, like I'd mentioned. I used to like play Pokemon on my Game Boy and just hacking it. It just felt like I was in control of this little computer world that I was like master of. It was just awesome. So a computer to me always felt like a really big Game Boy. Nonetheless, working with computers, I'd finally felt like I'd found something I could do day in and day out and never get tired. And so, yeah, so I started Googling, right? What do people do when you want to get a career with computers? Like, what are the next steps? And Google told me a couple different things. One, I could get a CCNA certification, which is like a networking related topic of, I still don't know what that is today. I have no idea what a CCNA certification is. So if you don't know, that's fine because I have no idea. Or two, Geek Squad is still hiring, which probably not for long because Best Buy is archaic. And then three, programming is a thing, but I don't have a degree and I'm averagely intelligent. So that's a bust. You have to be a genius, right, to know how to code, right? So I thought, no. Apparently, it only takes 12 weeks, says App Academy. So I saw this ad as I was Googling where in 12 weeks, no money up front, you can just get a job making six figures. And I was like, sign me up. Let's do it. So I applied and I got accepted. And I was super happy, right? And my mom was happy too. She said she could tell that I'd finally found like what I wanted to do, what I was destined to do. But in all honesty, she was just so glad to have me out of her place. I'm sure it was that. She would say otherwise, but I know what it was. Either way, I take the car again, pack the bags, but this time headed for San Francisco. So, aside from bunking in a small student living bungalow with four guys to one room and a pair of feet for a view every night, the Californian atmosphere was beautiful. It was truly unlike anything I'd experienced before. And me being a born and raised East Coast kid, bright-eyed me was like ready to take this world by storm. So this is like, some sights I saw along the way. It was very beautiful. Yeah, and baby faced me in the middle there. And the feet. The feet was really the sight of it all. So at first it seems tough, right? Feed every night for a view. No windows to that room, by the way. 9 hours a day I would be spending coding, and that would be 5 days a week, sometimes weekends if I chose to study, which we'll get to that, for 12 weeks. But I was determined to finish, right? It was a task, but I still felt like it was something I could accomplish if I just put my mind to it. The task was super simple. Make it through 12 weeks, get paid. That was all I was thinking about. Make it through 12 weeks, get paid. Just get paid. Just get paid. Right? But guess what? I flunked. I had one shot and I blew it, or so I thought. But the way that it worked was it was 12 weeks. 6 tests would happen over the course of that with a 2 fail maximum, which meant that if I failed any of the 6 tests, I was out, right? It didn't matter if it was a 6th test or the 5th test. If I failed 2, I was done. And that's exactly what I did. Despite me studying, I failed the first test, just having no idea what to expect, literally. I showed up fresh on the scene with no idea what code was. And the same thing happened to me on the second, right? Luckily, I wasn't the only one who was struggling. So for the second test, everybody got a retake. And I passed that one barely, but I did pass it. So the third test happens now, and I promised myself dearly that I'm going to study for it. Spoiler alert, I don't. And that's it. Just like that, 10 weeks shorter than I imagined, I'm out, right? Um, and it's not like I didn't know how to program. I mean, I didn't, but the course was designed to teach me how to program. I truly failed the boot camp because I just didn't know what to expect, and I didn't adjust quick enough to what I was being asked to do. So it was 100% on me, but you make mistakes, right? That's all I can really say is you're going to make mistakes. And even if you think, because you have some natural gift or talent or the stars align that it's all going to work out, no, it's not going to work out. Or it may work out for you. I really hope that it does, but it didn't for me at this point in time. Now, I love this slide. This really shows my personality here. If you haven't noticed, I'm not the brightest. Okay, these slides, it took me probably a week to put together, and I'm still fumbling over most of it. You probably can't tell, but I am like not killing it right now. But that's my motto, right? Is to just wing it, to just be ordinary. Like everything is just a shot in the dark. And if I hit the target, okay. If I don't, I wasn't trying to hit it anyway. Yeah, if there's anything special about me, it would have to be that I'm persistent. I'll just, take a shot, see what happens. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we try again. Fall 7, get up 8 is another quote from my mom. She's chock full of those things. I've learned that you really don't have to get it right the first time. You just have to be persistent. So this is a photo of me, completely SOL. I mean SOL, like broke, as you can tell. Getting stuff done, right? So I meet this guy in tech, and he runs a landscaping company on the side, laying fake grass in the back of rich people's homes in like cities, in the city and apartments and stuff. Because water is so scarce in California, you can't really use real grass. You have to put fake grass down for stuff. So I'm helping him do this, and I'm not really sure what my next move is, right? Again, winging it. This is Daniel's motto. It's just, hey, you got to eat today. So let's see what this guy's doing. Follow his coattails or whatever. I'm making new friends. I'm traveling the state. It's at this point that I'm living in between San Francisco, Oakland, and Los Angeles. I'm just up and down the state, just living life, right? I'm making all of my money off of this app called Winolo, which stands for Work Now Locally. And basically the app works like, I'd open it like you'd open Facebook, and I read the posts about jobs that are in my area, right? So one day I'm working for a moving company, helping a lady move out of a house that's right next door to Mrs. Doubtfire's. This is a true story. I was right next to Mrs. Doubtfire's house, but I didn't care because it was 4:00 in the morning and I was hungry and I wanted to get home. But I was there. And the next, I'm at like a Hulu Christmas party, which you can see in that third image there in the middle. Where these executives are like stumbling out of the thing drunk, and I'm just like the guy like cleaning up, and they're talking about quarterlies and whatever's. I'm hanging out in the world, but I'm not really in the world. And to the next door to that now, Coachella is happening. So somebody is painting a mural of some people who had passed that year. Nipsey Hussle and X and Mac and Lil Peep. So I'm very much a Californian at this point, and I'm enjoying life is all I can really say. I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but I'm sort of surrounded by tech. I'm surrounded by something, and I'm having ideas for apps, although I can't code. So I really just write them down and forget about them. But I'm still thinking about it, right? Visualizing the end, just kind of making it up as I go. Now, what happens next for me, and I'm sure for everybody, will be your favorite chapter, 2020, or the year of the mask. We all know what this means. I'm not even going to go into this. We all know what this means. So the sea that shall not be named happens and basically makes it impossible for me to find work. I'm left with no other option than to figure out how I'm going to get out of California because everything's shutting down, and it's shutting down fast. I mean fast. The app that I had been making money on, Winolo, pretty much implodes because who's going to hire somebody to work for a day without knowing or testing them, again, for that C word that I will totally not name. This is how we get to the grocery aisles part of my story. So the climate at this point in California is rough. Businesses were closed and everybody had to either eat outside or deliver food at home. Luckily for me, this meant that a new type of job would form: grocery shopping. For 3 months, every morning I would roll up to a Whole Foods and get shot in the face with a thermometer gun. You could see in the top, bottom right there. And if my temperature was above 100, they'd let me shop. I'm sorry, if my temperature was below 100, they would let me shop. If it was above 100, I was getting sent straight home. So this was like my personal version of hell, right? It was like a do or die. Are you making money today or are you not? Eventually, I had saved up enough money doing this to afford to move back home to Florida. But even when I got back home, this is my only means of making money, is grocery shopping. And it's enough to pay the bills, but scanning mounds of toilet paper and packing kombucha into grocery bags is not my vision of like a healthy, sane life. So something had to give. But my mother's quote, again, to go back to her and the wisdom that she gave me, was to just, visualize the end. This was not the end I had in mind, but what is it? What are we trying to do? And tech just kept coming back up. I'll explain to you how it fits into this job, because I'd used some of my tech whiz hacking knowledge to game this system. So to talk a little bit about the specifics of grocery shopping and how I transitioned out of this hellhole. The way it worked was we were all measured by the ratio between our total orders and the time it took us to pick each item. Me, now being the deviant that I am, figured I could game the system by completing as many orders as I could as fast as I can. So the way that worked is, in order to register an item as being picked, I would have to scan the barcode of the item and then put it in the bag, right? So I have to find the item before I can put it in the bag. But that wasn't true for produce. As you can imagine, you can't scan a potato. So when I would get an order, what I would do is I would scan through the list and just click that I had put all of the produce in the bags already, right? So if you ordered like 15 potatoes, guess who just packed 15 potatoes in 4 seconds? This guy. And that boosted my score through the roof. I was basically like the best employee there. Like everybody thought this guy was killing it, which wasn't true. I was just, again, gaming the system. I would do this for like the first couple hours of the day, and then I would sneak off to my car to watch programming videos. So I did that for a couple of weeks. Nobody really got on to like what I was doing, but it was enough time for me to figure out what programming was and how to put an app together and like how to update some HTML and CSS. Again, meanwhile, nobody has any idea that Daniel is not completing orders. He is just in his car all day watching programming tutorials. And in the evenings, I would come home and I would make web apps like the ones you see on the screen now. The top right, I had made a Pokedex because I'm a nerd, obviously. For those of you who live in Florida, if you know Ripley's, they were hiring for a web developer at the time. So I thought, what better way to get a job as their web developer than to literally recreate their website? So I literally recreated their website with the added twist of it being Bipley's instead of Ripley's. As you can imagine, like Ripley's, their whole thing is weird, like obscure artifacts, right? So I thought Bipley's would be Ripley's in an alternate universe. They didn't hire me, but I did learn how to Photoshop, which was cool. So I got that. And then, Netflix, Hulu, that little choose your avatar like sequence. I liked that. I think I was just on like Paramount the other day and I thought it was cool. So I was like, I want to recreate this. So these are the things that I was making. Again, just practicing, packing kombucha in the mornings and then practicing in the evenings, dreaming of a better life. 2 months of this and sending out job applications after job application after job application and rejection after rejection after rejection. I finally landed my first tech job. I'd finally done it. This was September of 2020. I was a customer service representative at an e-commerce startup. I quit my job that day. I just put the phone down on a counter and I walked out the store. Me and my boss made eye contact, and she knew that I knew that she knew that I hadn't been working there, and she was okay with that. Or not. I really don't care. I don't know. I bought a new laptop. It was used, but it was new to me. So yeah. And that was it. It was me and that all the time. And I swore to never leave the house or state again. Never. By the way, I forget this. I drove to and from California because I needed a car. So I've driven across the state. I've driven across all of the states twice. So I was done with driving, leaving, period. It was still a roller coaster after this. My career in tech has kind of been up and down even since getting into it. And I hope for you that's not the case, but I just want to let everybody know that, ups and downs are going to happen in this. And just because I had made it as a service representative, it really only meant that my foot was in the door, which was okay, because for you guys, when you get your first jobs, it's uphill from there, but you're in. The good news is that you're in. So, excuse me, I'll explain to you what you can do to move further in once you've gotten your in. I'm saying in a lot, but it's because it's part of my story here. I'm gonna get to it now. So what I've learned since being in tech is, number one, any job in tech is a tech job, and I mean any job. If you stock the break room with cups at Facebook, you're in a tech job. You have a tech job, and I mean that. You have a tech job. Here where we work, I don't know. There's percentages of my job that are not tech, but I have a tech job. Number two, tech growth or tech companies are orbital, not vertical. I'll expand on this, but I think most people's perception of moving up in a company or the career growth is that it's vertical, right? But when we get to the next slides, you'll see that tech companies don't really work that way. And I would venture to say that most companies don't work that way. But I'll expand again later on this. My third point is, it's a lot easier than you think to sell yourself to employers. You probably don't know it, but you have everything you need right now to get your first job. I had everything I needed before I made those apps, but I think that helped. Again, we'll expand on this as we continue. So let's take a look at some examples on what a company typically looks like. So when we think about a company and we think about how you move up a company, I think everybody imagines this vertical structure where you start off at the bottom as an employee and you move up as a supervisor, maybe a mid-manager and vice president. So eventually you're Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos. It's not really how it works. In my experience, tech companies look a lot more like this. The last one I've been at, the one I'm at now, it's orbital. So everybody reports to everybody. Nobody's the boss. The product is the boss. Some people answer to the product more than others, and other people answer to the customer more than the product. But to break into tech, your best bet is to find a job working for the customer. I'll expand on this. Every company has them, and every one of them struggles to meet the demands of them, whether it be due to the inbox exploding, let's say, the phone's going off, emails out the wazoo, or worse, having no customers at all. It's hard for companies to make a product that sells and then also keep the people that they're selling to happy. So you want to fit yourself in that position. Get more customers for the company or help the customers that they already have, which I break out into sales or support. There's even offshoots to these roles. You have account representatives or executives, technical support, which is not really customer service. It's more like your I don't know, what did I do? Well, I mean, you're keeping track of bugs and you're reporting bugs to to higher ups to QA to engineering. Yeah, so it's there's different titles, and you'll probably see that on LinkedIn and these job boards that, you know, everybody calls it something different. But the general rule of thumb is you want to be either sales or support your first job. This is my advice, and it's worked out for me. And remember, any job that you get in tech is a tech job. So you're always in a position to move in, again, not up, but in once your foot's in the door. So these, again, check a job board tonight. There's plenty of these roles. This is how I got started. And you're not pigeonholed in any one of these positions. Sales representatives can become finance guys. Account executives can become project managers. Not if they're lucky, literally if they just ask, or even better, if they just do. Customer service and technical support reps or nerds, such as myself, can become engineers. And I'm proof of that. I'm a senior support engineer now, but when I started, I was just answering phones and emails. I did that enough, and people liked me enough to where they thought, well, maybe let's see if you could do some other stuff. And that route still exists for you, by the way. It hasn't changed. So my advice would be to first figure out who you are, right? And what your end goal is. Again, visualizing the end, your end career in tech. Like truly ask yourself, who do you want to be? Do you want to be in the administrative aspect of tech, where you're managing relationships or making the money, or designing the product? Or do you want to build the product? Do you want to write code? Do you want to do techie things? If it's one of the two, you've got your positions laid out for you. It's either support or sales. That isn't to say, though, that if I wasn't good at sales on the support side and I wanted to do that they wouldn't have let me transition. So, I mean, really, again, it's just about getting your foot in the door. So whichever one of these you like is your best bet. Some other pieces of advice, if you go the support route and you're tasked with challenging things that you need help with from, say, the devs, it's good to ask for help, but try never to ask somebody for help twice. Reason for this is you want to become as self-reliant as possible. It's how you kind of build yourself into other roles and how you make roles for yourself. So solve problems independently. And for those of you who go the support route, you'll become an engineer before you even know it. If you're not interested in the computer type things and prefer, again, the administrative stuff, join the sales team for sure. You'll learn the ins and outs of not only the product that you're working on or that you work for, but you'll also be developing the relationships that you'll soon get to manage once you transition into, say, project management or finance. So what makes a good sales rep or support rep? I mean, it's obvious, right? Can you hold a phone? Can you type on a computer? Have you typed on a computer before? I mean, I know this sounds like jokes, and this slide is intentionally made to be redundant. But again, you most likely possess the skills that you already need to get your first job. And I mean that. Like, if you can and gaming, again, is important. You got to game stuff. If I've proved anything at working at Whole Foods, is that gaming is winning. Sell yourself. So figure the things out about your previous roles that you can apply to either support or sales. And then just, in my case, in support, what I think truly made me enticing to the hiring manager was my technical aptitude. So making those web apps probably made them feel that I could debug or figure things out myself because I was already technically inclined. If I was in sales, I would probably find some ways to share numbers of things. I hear they like numbers a lot, salespeople, money people, or make a chart of like some things I had marketed before or like sort of sold or like branded. You have to provide some evidence to your potential employer. And I think that the examples would probably be to do one of the two options there. Once you've got your path selected now, support or sales, again, it's just about gathering as much intel as you can on yourself. So your soft skills, right? Are you adaptable? Are you resourceful? Are you creative? Are you a good troubleshooter? Are you very personable? And then providing evidence. So projects for support types, the engineering types, metrics for the sales types, for the finance types, and then to just be ready to get rejected. It's going to happen, but the companies, and it's good that we are living in a time right now where so many people are trying to start companies. Everybody needs help, and even the big companies need help because they're trying to compete with the little guys who may be doing things faster. So, you know, yeah, you want to just apply as much as you can and not feel super upset about the rejections because they will come. But at least, as you do it, you'll sort of get better at getting the no's, and you'll sort of start to see like what about the job, what they're asking for, and are you offering that in your resume? So take everything as an opportunity to learn from it rather than a failure. Once you get the job now, uh, a big a big thing is to be as self-reliant as possible. Again, going back to the like, I don't want to ask somebody how to do something twice, because one, that shows them that I really should be where I am because I can't do what they're doing. And two, when I do get to what they're doing, if that's what I want to do, I'll have no idea what to do. So it's very important to document as much as you can. Again, one, for yourself, because this is how you become self reliant. And two, for others, because this is how you can prove your worth, right? Always look for opportunities to be somebody's go to person. Don't have go to people, be the go to person. You can imagine if now when a position on a team that you want to be on opens up, the people you've been helping are going to think about you. So yeah, with that, I want to close, and I want to say thank you everybody for watching. I hope you guys have found this informative. The industry specific stuff, if I move through it a little too fast, there are some, well, these slides will be sent out. So I hope you did take notes, but again, like, feel free to use this. And last but not least, again, a thank you to my mom for everything that she's done for me, and just the people who've helped me along the way, especially Bot. Like, you guys have been super inspirational. I hope my story inspires you to keep going. If you haven't started yet, please do get into it now. Don't sit in your hands for too long. Make the mistakes early, and yeah, just learn it, wing it, right? Be ordinary. So with that, I'm going to open the floor to Q&A. I'm going to look at the chat really quick and see if there are any questions. Gaming is indeed winning. Yes, gaming is indeed winning. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away. I can go back through any of the slides too.
Yeah, we'll give a few minutes if you guys want to type your questions down below, and we can have Daniel answer them for you. But yes, if you want him to go back and discuss a slide that didn't get enough clarity on, definitely do that as well.
I want to hear what people are working on to get into tech. What are some projects people are working on? What are some ideas that they have? Where do people want to work in tech? Why do people want to work in tech? I have questions. Why do I have questions and nobody has questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What from beginning to now where you are, what do you think has been like the number one learning lesson in regards to maybe like, what are some things that you should continue doing as a person to, I guess, spark this inspiration of what you want to do going forward?
Well, I think again, to keep plagiarizing my mom, you gotta know what you want to do. So you gotta have an end in mind. You gotta have some goal, something you want to accomplish, and then you just do it once, and almost make the mistake, or do it wrong the first time, and then just reiterate. I found that too, even doing this slide deck, that like just going through it with a really bad version, the rough draft, is perfect because now you got something you can improve upon. So yeah, just do it and make it really ugly. That was not wise at all. Let's see what Wilson said.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I'll put that up here so everyone else can see it. There
Okay.
you go.
I have one question regarding the practice. How do you know when the projects you worked on are considered enough to be hired? Well, that's the thing, is that they're not. right? Because I mean, I recreated Ripley's website and they still didn't hire me. I don't even think I got a rejection letter. I think I just never heard back from them. So to answer your question, Wilson, there really isn't a good answer to that. I think I've done some projects lately that would be deemed hireable. Um, so, yeah, feel for it. Yeah, feel for it. That really sounds like a quote from my mom. Interesting. Uh, yeah, definitely. You're not going to know what projects will work. I mean, you just have to do everything, but do what you like. So I kept myself motivated by working on the things that I actually liked. So I would say, don't even worry about what's going to get you the job. Just do the work on the things that you like. If you like sports, I mean, make an app that curates data on it, or just make a website that shows sports. Literally anything that gets you away from being on YouTube or like the Xbox, and like just focuses you on the thing that you're trying to do. You got to do that. So it's like hacking your brain a little bit to just, make everything fun, make the work fun. What certifications or skills are people usually caught off guard with a job requiring? I would probably say, maybe just an aptitude to like thinking quickly. I'm even trying to think now about like some of the people that I work with, and the roles that they were hired for, and then Josh previous to that. I don't think a lot of it came down to the certifications. I have an AWS cert now, that I think would probably help me get a job if I were to go elsewhere, but I wouldn't say that that's the thing that people would probably hire me for. I think they would hire me for, um, like my ability to just, okay, pen and paper, solve a problem, right? So like that's a skill that we all have, or like it's those types of skills that you don't buy or you don't necessarily learn, that I think people are typically taken off guard by. Yeah. In interviews, all of my interviewers have seemed to be looking for that more so than and the bias is probably going to keep you away from, you know, they may not hire you because you don't have certs, but don't let that get to you. What platforms should a person lean into in order to be ready outside of what is traditionally taught in boot camps? Um, yeah, I like Free Code Camp. Um, I'm also biased, but Bot will be coming out or launching a ability for you to study for the AWS cert among some other technologies. So look out for that. Um, I think that webinars are good. Again, I'm self-plugging, but watching things on YouTube, tutorials are great. Um, I think one, because if you're reading written material, it may be hard to follow along with like the speed in which somebody's building something. You can't judge it by just paper, right? But if you're watching a video, you can word by word hear, if it's audio, how somebody's going about building a website. So I would say, yeah, find find some tutorials, written tutorials online, go through those things. This is again for all the techie nerd stuff. If you're doing sales stuff, I can't help you. I don't know how to make sales, but they probably have the same thing there. Um, or just use YouTube. I don't think any of the projects that I did, I had studied through tutorials. I think just keeping my mind in the mode of doing tech, just sort of, I learned through osmosis. So watching stuff, and those types of things, yeah, just whatever keeps you engaged in the tech field. Watch a tech movie is probably a good idea, and then work on your resume at the same time. Thank you guys for the kind words. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the presentation. You mentioned startups, Kensington said. Do you feel startups are more willing to give people new to tech a chance versus established companies? I think, having worked at big companies and small companies, they both are equally just as willing, um, if you don't appear to be a liability. So, like, clearly don't look like somebody who's not capable, again, of getting one of those sales or support jobs, um, which you can just do by, again, like showing the bare minimum of like what you would imagine a tech professional to have. organizational skills, some ability to organize stuff, files, basically text, information, and then answering phone calls and emails. Big companies, because they grow so fast, I think are super willing to hire new people. And then obviously, like you said, small companies are definitely willing to hire new people. So across the board, um, yeah, big companies or small companies, everybody's hiring. I think the issue is that where most people are, and I was too, we're typically looking at the more biased or political positions that are available. Like it's very like nuanced to be an engineer for a company because the product is so sacred. They don't want anybody in there, anybody and everybody messing around with the code. Or management, like that again is super nuanced. But sales and support, I mean, if you're bringing people in and you're helping people out, like they don't really care. It's so far on the ends that they just want to make sure that those sides of the ship are being accounted for. Will flexing problem solving skills be a way to get a foot in the door in support, even if those problem solving skills aren't in the tech field? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think it goes back to knowing you, right? Knowing who you are first gives you an idea of what you already have to offer. And then second gives you some idea of like what skills you need to highlight the most when applying for these specific jobs. And I would definitely say I'm one of those people who would curate my cover letter or even like words in my resume to whatever job I was applying for. So I would say that you got to have a good understanding of, like you're saying, the skills that you offer, and then just wording it in a way to capture the audience that you're presenting to. Is it okay to build a project from a tutorial even if you can't replicate it again entirely? 100%. 100%. Actually, I think I heard from one guy that he didn't even make the apps. He just drew up the ideas and that was enough to get him the job. Something like that. But yeah, I didn't show any of my projects to anybody that I've worked at anywhere because they don't really care. And they probably don't even know how it works anyway. So, yeah. Plus, if you have it built and it's yours, it's in your hands. Although you can just download code, it's good to if tech is what you're doing, it's good to have like your own copy of it, so to speak. Like I've been working on projects or even stuff at work where, oh, I need the code for this thing to happen. And yeah, we could all use ChatGPT to make code. Just appear. I've literally scrapped old projects for like parts and stuff and have used it in other things. So if you can't replicate it, it's still useful. 100%. And don't use ChatGPT because it sucks.
All right, guys. So we are about to wrap up in the next 6 minutes or less. But if you have any additional questions for Daniel, please go ahead and put that in the chat for us so we can get them answered for you. But we just want to close out just to say we're very thankful and grateful for everyone who's able to come out and watch us tonight, especially on a Friday. We definitely appreciate that. Happy hour with us. But yeah, thank you so much. Daniel, do you want to have any closing remarks?
I want to say thanks to you again for hosting this. And yeah, and everybody for coming out again. Like, I hope we didn't go over time.
Oh no,
Go.
you're perfect on time. You
Good,
did great
good.
on time. But yeah, but if there's yeah, we'll linger around for 5 more minutes just if there's any other I'm sorry, comments that might come through. But yes, thank you again, everyone. We do hope that we can see you if you are in the Orlando area. If you visit our Eventbrite Black Orlando Tech page, you'll see we have right now, I think, two events that are up there. One for March, which is for machine learning workshop that's in person at Credo in downtown Orlando, along with innovation. There's a innovation technology event that's coming up as well in person in April that you could sign up for as well on Eventbrite. So, but yeah, thank you everyone for joining. If you ever have any questions to us, events, or even if you're someone in the audience who would like to speak, we have a lot of openings in our calendars. If you want to speak to our audience online or in person in Orlando, you just please reach out to us at info@blackorlandotech.org. Otherwise, our Sophia or Daniel at blackorlandotech.org, and we can get you connected with our events coordinator to get that to happen. So yes, thank you everyone so much for joining, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I'm excited for that machine learning talk we'll be having. Yeah, those are one of those things that I've been trying to learn for years, and I just can't. Which goes back to my point that you don't really know how to do anything until you do
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, and I will say for the audience, for those who are still lingering, we're with our events, we're definitely trying to push more hands-on workshops. So you can get just if you're very curious of something, you're just not sure how to learn about it or dibble and dab. We're trying to do more workshops that would help facilitate that and spark your interest even more. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna just go ahead and wrap it up, Daniel. I don't think there's any more comments that are gonna flood in. But thank you everyone for joining, and we hope that you have a great rest of your Friday evening. And again, we hope to see you at the end of March for our in-person event.
Come
Thank
through.
you.
Thanks. See ya.